When reaching adulthood, many people start drinking coffee. I, however, first started drinking tea. At this point, even though I drank tea regularly, caffeine wasn't a problem for me yet. I could go many days without drinking any caffeine and I would feel totally normal. Then, one day, the villain of the story entered. Coffee. I remember the first cup of coffee that I drank. It was in military, I was 20 years old, and the feeling it gave me was amazing. Like, it was something that I hadn't experienced before, from tea, from energy drinks, from anything. At this point, I still continued drinking tea, but also occasionally I would have a cup of coffee. Like, that couldn't be too bad for you, right? As time went by, I found myself more and more often with a cup of coffee in my hand and less often with a cup of tea. Fast forward 1 year, I am drinking coffee every day. Coffee has become the hot beverage, the go-to drink. Fast forward 1 year, again, I spent the summer working in a construction firm. It became kind of a habit of mine to drink 2 big cups of coffee per day. One in the morning, another in the afternoon. After a month or so of doing that, I, however, started to notice this weird feeling, anxiety. My body was telling me that I'm consuming too much caffeine by giving me this annoying restlessness sort of feeling. In hindsight, it probably wouldn't be wise to cut back on coffee at this point, but I didn't. I continued drinking it. I dismissed the anxiety and the jitters I got out of it, and I told myself that I'm getting energy and alertness out of this drink, which I can totally tell that is BS right now. So I continued drinking 1 to 2 cups on average per day for the next 3 years. Now you may think that 2 cups, that's nothing. But for a caffeine sensitive person, 2 big cups of coffee is very much. It's totally too much for you. Over time, I started noticing more negative side effects. I couldn't fall asleep anymore as easily if I drank coffee in the afternoon or later. And it makes sense if you take into account that the half-life of caffeine is 5 hours. That means that if I consume 200 milligrams of caffeine, which a cup of coffee can have in it at 2 p.m., I would still have 100 milligrams of caffeine in my body 5 hours later at 7 p.m. and 50 milligrams in my body 10 hours later at 12 o'clock, midnight. So caffeine was ruining my sleep. A sort of breaking point came for me with caffeine this year, in February. I was out of coffee and I wasn't going to the store, so I thought that okay, I'll just have 1 day of not drinking caffeine. Like it would probably do me good, right, to kind of cleanse my system. But oh boy, was I wrong. At 1 p.m. I felt so horrible that I couldn't take it anymore. My head hurt, I was experiencing this intense annoyance, anxiety, all that. I had no choice. I had to go to the store to buy coffee. So I couldn't be even 1 day without it. And at the time I was already mixing decaf coffee with regular coffee because I wanted to drink less caffeine but still continue to drink coffee. So I was drinking less than 1 cup per day of actual coffee and I couldn't take it. I couldn't take 1 day without it. So that's when I sort of realized just how addicting of a drug caffeine is. And it makes sense if you think about it. I mean, coffee is classified as a psychoactive drug. And if you think about it, it's kind of weird. Like, our society runs on this drug. Like, we have all just accepted that this is the drug that we can consume. And so we do it with a smile on our faces every day. Like, picture a workplace where coffee was banned. Nobody would want to work there. Coffee is such an important part of our society, of capitalism, of, you know, everything. It's so good. I also noticed that caffeine was making me not less, but more tired. If I drank another cup in the afternoon, I would soon experience this weird tiredness, like my eyes would feel tired, and I really would not be in a better state than if I hadn't drank that coffee. So I made a simple deduction. More caffeine does not mean less tired. So what does less coffee mean? Does it mean more alert? Does it mean more fresh? What would happen if I drank only 50 milligrams of caffeine per day? 25 milligrams? 0 milligrams? Luckily, I found out. So I made another video where I actually go through the process of quitting caffeine, and you'll see there what kind of problems and withdrawal symptoms arise with it. However, there are quite a few good things that come out of it, so go check that one out, you won't regret it. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, I'll see you in the next one, bye.